Kanishk Gaur, Twitter seems to be acting like a rebellious teenager. That I don't want to listen to my parents. The government's acting like a parent trying to tell me what to do, what not to do. I'm my own person. This is Woodstock and we do what we want. It's wild and we can do whatever we want. Now that's not really, even if you support free speech, the right approach, because as was the case with Donald Trump's account being barred, and we saw people like Angela Merkel, who's a very sensible centrist politician, coming out and saying she's uncomfortable with that decision being taken by a tech company. If it's a decision mandated by law enforcement or by courts, it's a different matter. For a tech company to be taking a decision like that is dangerous. What do you make of this battle between Twitter and the Indian government, and the manner in which Twitter has been acting in comparison with how Facebook or Google are acting?
So, Rahul, it's very important for us to understand that these tech giants, whatever they are today, have been created by these governments, not only Indian government, but I would say US government. And they have been used, and today they are being thrown behind, because the elections are over, right? Things have changed. Every political leader, domestic or international, is on Twitter today, and they have huge fan following. Today, when certain things come late, you give them limited time to follow a specific law. These platforms, specifically Twitter, is being labeled as being a mischievous child or being told that they are not following the guidelines. But you need to realize that these companies also have built up big tech. They have built up artificial intelligence, machine learning algorithms. They have built up a huge database. All of that adaptation does not happen in 3 months. That needs time, right? Today, India has such a massive population. If you've got 50 crore users for whom you need to maintain data and also track every text message, and you have the entire team working from home, which company will be able to build this technology over a period of 3 months? This is a big issue.
No. One second. Kanishk Gaur, one second. No, one second. Twitter was given more than 3 months to appoint grievance officials. They were told the kind of grievance official that were required. Now, this whole business that we haven't been able to find someone, that's bogus. If there's a position out in any company, no matter how complicated and elaborate your interview processes are, Twitter had more than enough time to fill up these positions, as other companies have been able to do. To come back and say we haven't been able to do it, then you're really running a very bad shop. You're a very poorly governed and managed company.
Rahul, let me correct you here. All the companies, so Twitter had a officer appointed who resigned. They had appointed an officer who resigned. All the other companies don't have people from their own.
Yeah, you had to appoint 3, you appointed 1.
No, so the positions are still out today. But with criminal liability on these employees, FIR being filed against the company MD, right? How many people will come and join Twitter? Or forget Twitter, the other companies which are there. It's very difficult to close these roles, right? You look at the today's scenario, there would be people in Twitter who will be under tremendous amount of stress and pressure. That also has to be looked in. Another important
Rahul,
aspect that you need to realize.
Do you buy that, Arvind Gupta? This argument, no, one second. There is some merit to the argument that if you know that tumhara gala hi katne wala hai, that you're being given this job where ultimately there'll be FIRs and you'll be going from Bulandshahr to Ghaziabad and where have you, where cases are lodged. You really need to be a very daring or adventurous person to say, yes, I want to sign up for it, no matter how much money, dollar denominated in compensation, Twitter is willing to pay. So that is to some extent correct. Rahul, when Kanishk makes the point that you won't really have people jumping out with joy saying that they want to sign up.
See, Rahul, there is 2 issues. If you, first of all, Twitter is in a self-inflicted wound situation. All it had to do is designate, not hire new people. They have a lot of team in India. Unless Kanishk is suggesting they have 0 people in India. They have a team in India. And within that team, they needed to appoint 3 officers and name 3 officers, designate them as nodal compliance and grievance officers. They chose not to do that. And they chose not to engage with the government. It's not the government which has gone after Twitter. Let me be very, very clear here. It is Twitter which has decided on its own to be this, this free speech champion, to say, oh, I won't comply, India. And, I operate under my own rules and policies. And it's been doing that. It's been operating with impunity on its own rules and policies. It's been locking the IT minister's account, and it has time to do all of that. It has time to, de-verify a lot of accounts and a lot of other things, but it does not have time to name and designate 3 officers as required by the law.
I'm very curious to know, Rahul Khurshid, can someone, can Ravi Shankar Prasad's account get locked just accidentally for something that happened in 2017? You understand how Twitter works. You've seen it from the inside. How would this typically happen? Can this just happen as, one of those things that happened for a complaint which was about 4 years old? Or do you think that someone deliberately, because they are peeved or irked with the fact that their local officials are having all these FIRs against them, and therefore they wanted to poke Ravi Shankar Prasad back in the eye?
No, why would anyone want to do that, particularly in a charge context? Quite obviously, it is someone, it's a DCMA complaint, and it was filed by Sony India for a piece of music that was attached to a tweet by the minister. Someone got to it. Again, as I said, like from my understanding,
4 years ago, if you're a tech company, one second, sir, this is not a local court or a district court.
No,
how has it taken 4 years for Twitter to act on it?
From my point of view, I don't think anyone is going into a file cabinet, a dark file cabinet, and picking out files to see what they can act on and what they can't act on.
Rahul, Twitter has a history. Rahul, Twitter had a history of social such actions by their employees in the past. And I think I don't want to make this only about what actions Twitter has done, but Twitter has had a lot of issues with its, social engineering within its employees, the biases that the employees have, which get transferred into the, into the biases that the algorithms have, and that's the overall issue with Twitter.
I want to go across.